Good morning, everybody. And we're still talking tulips, and we're still rocking aprons. Fall, y'all.
Fall, y'all.
Really, the whole point of this was just so I can wear my apron.
Yeah.
This is actually one of our rad items in decor. And we're actually going to talk about decor. We've never ever once discussed decor. I'm totally segueing here. Wow, I really got to stay on topics. But we have an amazing decor section. Really unique, really fun, kitschy items. And we're going to talk about decor, and the purpose of it, and aesthetics and whatnot, and show you guys some fun things that we've got. But that isn't this week. I think that might be next week. I haven't looked at the schedule. Yep, next week I'm getting the thumbs up from Randy. Finger guns. Randy, finger guns, and thumbs up.
Oh, sorry.
What's better, thumbs up or finger guns?
Ooh, poll question.
So we've been talking all about bulbs. We discussed what a bulb is. We give some different examples of bulbs. And then today, we're talking about how to plant a bulb. And then tomorrow, we're going to go visit April and plant some bulbs.
Yeah!
Congratulations, April. You're our winner. Can't wait to see you. I already spoke to April, and she's going to be home. So we're also going to be stopping at my favorite, Rosso. We're going to be getting coffees in April. We're bringing you a coffee too, because that's a jerk move. Showing up on your property with coffees and not bringing one, that's more jerk move than squirrels digging tulips out of gardens.
Yeah.
So, how do you plant a bulb? We've discussed it at length, what a bulb is, and everything else. So how do you plant it? Now, I touched on this the other day, kind of being cheeky, roots down. Okay? And it's really, really, really that simple. So I've got an allium bulb here. Allium, again, is part of the garlic family. So here, look, it's like almost like a perfect little round. Look, it even looks like garlic. Okay? Perfect round thing, roots on the bottom. Okay? Roots down, voila. That is your first tip. And I'm not saying that to be facetious or clever. When you come and look at some bulbs, this one is a real cheat. You do get some very funky looking things, and it's tough to know if you've never done it. It can be tricky. So your standard rule is just put your roots down and the plant will take care of itself. Okay, somebody stole half a piece of paper from me. That's interesting. All right, so that's our ground. Okay, that's our flower bed. So how do you plant a bulb? Well, I personally, you can get bulb planters. Personally, I prefer going, if I'm planting a ton of bulbs, shovel. If I'm very specifically planting individuals for a really aesthetic look, trowel. Okay? That's what I use. These are my tools of choice. So, what you do is, if you've seen our pumpkins too, I gotta keep mentioning these. These are just, I love them.
They're pretty cool. Anyway,
so what you do is you're gonna dig a hole. And the standard rule is you dig your hole, but how deep do you dig it? All bulbs are a different size. You'll see, and these are kind of to scale, okay? You got a tulip, and then you got some daffodils, then you got some huge alliums, and then you got a crocus, okay? Where do you go? It's not like a regular plant. They've all got their roots, remember? So if that was a regular plant, easy peasy. That's where you're planting, right? Not so with a bulb. What you want to do is you want to dig down and you want to put your bulb at the bottom of the hole with the roots nestled into the soil. Now the rule is, if you can fit 3 more bulbs on the top. You like how I didn't draw them to scale? I drew them to fit. Great thing about my drawings. If you can fit 3 more bulbs on top, it's deep enough. And then the soil that you dug out the hole, you're going to push back on. So that's your standard depth that you go to. Now, if you're planting these in a flower bed, that you've been working all year. So it's a flower bed in front of your house, and it's got some perennials, and you put some annuals in there. And in the spring, you opened it up and you added your peat moss, coconut coir, worm castings, compost. Any of those, you don't need to add all of them. You can add all of them, but any of those. What I'm saying is you amended your soil, and you've been turning it and weeding it, and your soil is really loose and really healthy. You probably do not need any amendments. Your soil is probably just fine. If you haven't, you've just moved in, like somebody said on a Hawaiian Shirt Friday. They're looking forward to decorating their new house and planting tulips. Maybe nobody has worked that flower bed, and this that you've lifted out is hard clay. This isn't like a tree where you want it to be, you kind of want those roots to force. This, don't forget, is going to grow a flower stem straight up the middle. Flower stems, really, I mean, they're tough, but they're not that tough. It's like when you put a seed in the ground, you don't sink it super deep, you don't expect it to do much. So you might need to add an amendment, really good one, sea soil. You want to break this up. Again, a little bit of clay isn't the end of the world. You're going to pull it out, but what you want to look at doing here is about 50-50 mix, okay? 50 new compost, 50% soil that came out the hole. And if you have amended your soil, if it is a flower bed that you've been working on all season, it's not going to hurt to add more at all. You're not going to do any damage. It's just, is it needed? Save a bit of money, but absolutely you can put some in. The bulb is going to thank you for it. It's not going to. I'm going to move this before I trip over it, and then pull it myself, which I think is already too late. I think that ship sailed. Then the other two things I've got here are bone meal and blood meal. Okay? Now a lot of times you'll see bone meal, you'll see blood meal, and you'll see a combination bone-blood meal. You do not want to use the combination. These have very different purposes, and they get put in at different places. So the combination isn't going to help you. You want these to be separate. And what you're going to do is we're going to start, did I grab the right one? Yes, I did. We're going to start with our bone meal. Now if you look, it's a fertilizer, okay? The main number I'm looking at here is my middle number. I'm looking at my phosphorus. And what we're going to do with our bone meal, we're going to dig our hole, we're going to put our bulb in. So again, our allium bulb, right? There's our little allium bulb. 1, 2, 3, boom. We've got our depth set. But when I dig out that hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust the bottom with bone meal, okay? And the reason for that is this guy is dormant. We know that. It's bone meal. It ain't going anywhere. If nothing is using it up, it's not getting depleted. So this is sitting in bone meal, and they're both just sitting there chilling out. Spring comes. Everything melts. We know all of that. We discussed that. Everything melts. The warmth is hitting it. Now the bulb, much like the seed, is awaking from its dormancy. Well, what's going to happen is it's going to take in water, and the adventitious roots that they've all got, I think I got a chopped up one still here, okay? These guys, you can see they're dry right now, but they won't be when there's moisture in that soil, and they're going to start taking it up. So like I said, the number I'm looking at is this one. That's going to promote my root growth. A little bit of nitrogen ain't going to hurt. That stem is green. We know that green is above ground leafy growth. Boom, voila. It's going to need some nitrogen. So this is going to go in the bottom of your hole. You're going to add some blood meal. Then what you're going to do is you're going to push your 50-50 mix into your hole, and you're going to push it down. You're not going to go nuts. You're not making the bulb have a challenge, but you don't want it light either. You want it nice and firm, so all of the soil fills in around your bulb. You don't want air pockets. So all of this gets filled with the soil. You push it down, just like we did when we planted the tree. when we've done house plants, all of that good stuff, firm, not compact. That's always kind of the rule you want. You want it firm, you want it to be holding it, but you don't want it hard and compact. So that's what you're going to do. So now, you're back to level here. You've got your bulb planted, and you've got your fresh soil there. Well, if you're anything like my neighborhood, I don't know how to draw one of these. I'm basically drawing a mouse. That's a squirrel.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what. You know what?
Oh.
There's his fluffy tail. That's a squirrel. I'm not going to draw a squirrel ever again. Brandy's wearing a mask, and I can still see the look. Brandy,
What is that?
Can you please put an image of a squirrel on here?
Yeah. Not that.
As you zoom in. So what you want to do, if you've got neighborhood squirrels that will love to dig that guy out, that's where your blood meal comes in. You're going to sprinkle this on top. Now, years ago when I planted a ton of bulbs, I lived in Mount Pleasant. I live in Cambrian Heights, just around the corner now. But Mount Pleasant and Cambrian Heights have a ton of squirrels, all the old trees. This works. But I am going to point something out as well. Like the bone meal, it is a fertilizer. It is an 800. Please be careful with it. I see people who think blood meal is purely to keep critters away, so they take it and it doesn't work like that. You may end up fertilizing something you don't want fertilized. Remember, we discussed about that. We do not want to promote new growth on our trees and perennials at this time of year. So if you're doing it, it's not a problem. You can plant your bulb right next to another plant here. It looks great in the spring. When you put down your blood meal, just put it over the area you planted. Don't get it over here. Yes. And this will keep the squirrels away. So like I said, you've got your bone meal and your blood meal, and that's why you don't want them both together. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. We planted. What's the next thing we do? You're gonna want to water. Okay? That's my water drop. My water drop is significantly better than my squirrel.
It is.
You want to water. Now you don't have to go crazy. It's not like a tree, not like a perennial, not like an annual. But what the water is going to do, it's going to help the soil settle, it's going to get into that bulb, and it's going to keep it hydrated. Remember we talked about trees at this time of year going into dormancy and water them because they're not dead. Same thing. This is not dead. It is going dormant. When it is dormant, it still needs stuff. So that water is going to settle your soil. It's going to hydrate that. Doesn't need to be watered every day. Normally at this time of year, we get enough rain, enough moisture, you're fine. If it is particularly dry and it is a new bulb planting, once a week you can water, twice a week. It's not going to really hurt it. You don't want to flood it. That can cause the bulbs to rot. But you can give it a shot of water every day, it'll be fine. But remember your depth. So when you're watering, you want to make sure the water is getting down to the bulb. You don't want any water to here. I'm drawing a blue sun. I'm still wearing a hat though. That sun is going to evaporate that water before it gets down to there. So you want to make sure your water penetrates down into that bulb and keeps it going. So now that I've told you guys how to plant a bulb, I'm going to show you guys how to plant a bulb. So tomorrow, we're going to drive down and we're going to visit April. We're going to bring her a coffee. We're going to bring her some bulbs. We're going to bring her some bulbs and we're going to plant them in the ground. And you guys are going to get a chance to see exactly how to do it. So that's it for today. Any questions, as always, let us know. Subscribe to YouTube, all the regular good stuff. And we'll see you guys from April's tomorrow. Bye, everyone.